Wave is always in a movement. The water is not. But the problem is the wave is false. And if you take wave as a real, then there is always a problem. There is always a problem when the wave is taken as a real. That is very important. You have been contemplating and reflecting, and you have been sharing your experiences, which is definitely indicates that we are evolving, we are rising into the consciousness, but the journey is yet to complete, and that is what we have shared today. I said that the mind is running. So I told him that, do you see the background is looks little bit dim? So he said, no, background is very good. It's okay. Your picture is coming good. That is what we have to see. We have to see the background of the mind. Mind continues to run. The journey, the nature of the mind is to run. If it does not run, it does not give you the knowledge. But to know that I am not the mind, that is the thing. If the mind is not running, it will not give you the knowledge. Are you understanding that? If the mind is not running, yes, the mind should run in a right direction. That is the problem. And the mind should run in a right direction. How it runs in the right direction? By viveka, by by discernment. That is the thing. So look at it. When I say the world is suffering, how do you know the world is suffering? Foolishness, unexamined life, mind has run to one aspect of the knowledge. It has run to the second aspect. Mind is scattered. That it has run to the third aspect. It is attachment. It is running. In that running, let me see. Oh, what is the truth? Otherwise, this mind has to run. Make it sure. I am not running. The water is not running. The wave has to run. Wave is not reality. Huh? But how to apply that in a daily life? Every day, wake up in the morning and say, I am the body. No, the body has continued to run, but I am not running. I'm not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. And the remedy that I discussed is the satsang. Satsang, listening and learning. We will talk about it. Outwardly, it is listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, practice. Inwardly, so when I'm listening and learning, contemplating and reflecting, let me see whether I awaken to the discernment. So when I awaken to the discernment, I am in the state of third group. That is what I say, realization. I have an experience. Now that that worry is gone. That anxiety is gone. And that is why I remind you all the time, are you are you changing your behavior and attitude? Are you changing your responses in the world outside? If you change your response, you change your behavior, that indicates, yes, we are evolving. We are rising into the consciousness and we are removing that ignorance. We are removing that ignorance. You have to understand that. If we do not understand that, Then knowledge. Knowledge removes the ignorance. Ignorance causes the suffering. Knowledge removes the ignorance and suffering comes to an end. It takes time because once that knowledge should be settled in my mind, it takes time. It takes time. When you continue to listen and learn and contemplate and reflect and apply in your daily life, then you see, oh, now I have no issues, no problem. Do you remember? Early in the morning, Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha Vahe. You are placing the knowledge in the mind that is living in ignorance. Understand that part of the Viveka. So, how to know that you have placed your behavior and attitude had changed? Your attitude and behavior has changed. In fact, it is the Viveka, it is the discernment that purifies the mind. No outer practice can purify the mind. Waves are there in an ocean. You make an extra effort to calm down the wave. Is it possible? It is not possible. More waves will spring. You leave it, you perceive it, you have a perception. Wave is nothing but the water. That name and the form of the wave is the false. That running of the mind, I'm aware in the background. Mind, you're running. Thank you. Keep running. I'm not the mind. Exactly the same way, I know the sky is not blue. Think, think, think. The journey of the Eastern wisdom says that we have to think, contemplate and reflect with a chain of thoughts to find out where is ignorance is located. And the moment you see that, can you see the wave? It is exactly the water. It is because of the name and the form, the false appears over the real. It will continue to appear. False does not mean that you can destroy it. If there is no false, there is no ignorance. So there is no ignorance that you are already into the knowledge. Do you think? If there is no pain and I do not inquire about the pain, anxiety, duality, and a conflict, importance of what is real will be will not be there. In that context, we picked up Gita in the last session, and we said the Viveka. Let us do the Viveka between the field and the knower of the field. Knower of the field. Take it in a very example of the farmer. Farmer rancher, and the field. In the field he works, sows the seed. I also daily sow the seed of my thought. Then thought converts into desire. Desire converts into my effort. But I am a knower that remains separate from it. Do you see that? But I have to contemplate. I have to reach to that state of awareness where I see here is a field and here I am the knower of the field. I am not the field. So that is what we worked with our, in the last session, we picked up that how to apply that in our daily life. Deal with our physical pain. Physical pain. Body is the field, pain is also the field. I am the knower. And you can deal easily with facing the emotional challenges. I think second one we talked about facing the emotional challenge is mind. It is the field. Field is always separate from the knower. When you make an important decisions in your life at the transactional level, this power of discernment would be a great friend to you. You can easily get out of the worries. Dealing with the criticism and the praise and appreciation. That is what there are many other aspects. If you now see that yoga, Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Normally we say Patanjali. I gave you that verse couple of times. That master says in the first chapter, Vivek Khatir Viplava Hanupaya. Hanupaya means the method. Means Hanupaya. What is the means to bring an end to the suffering? Vivek Khatir. Khati means to settle. Viveka, you already know it. When that discernment settles in the mind once and forever, that is the only method for awakening. That is the only method for removing the ignorance and also the suffering. So, in the first chapter, those people who cannot understand the first chapter, the advanced level of the seeker, then they have to go to the second chapter. In the second chapter, the master says, what master says? Huh? That you have to do lot of practices, Kriya Yoga. He uses the word in the first verse, Tapah Swadhyay Ishwar Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. He said, do tapa, self-discipline yourself. So he still doesn't talk about asanas and pranayama. Then tapa, swadhyay. Swadhyay means the self-study, means this I have to observe myself. So he introduces, he sows the seed of the discernment here. But at the same time, he says you should have a very strong belief because you don't believe yourself. That's why you are suffering. So let us believe in some image of the God. And still you are not convinced, you don't follow that. Then he says, then you start with asanas. Continue to do the headstand until you are frustrated. And you realize that no, now I have to move ahead. So you have asanas, you have pranayama, mudras. So now come back to the first chapter. Vivek Khatir Viplava Hanopaya. So he uses the discernment as Prakriti and Purusha. To make it simple, he says, there's another master who says there is only two things in the world. I am and I am not. Here is a phone. This is I am not. And here is I am. There are only two things. To make it simple, to make it more acceptable, there are only two things in the world. One is matter, and other is consciousness. One is the I am. Now you say my honey is word. My money is a word. My house is a word. My pain is a word. So there are only two things. Remember this, understand this, contemplate and become aware that this is what is known as Prakriti and a Purusha. Purusha means the consciousness here, and the Prakriti means the matter. Now we have to do the discernment because that is our topic. So that is our topic. You made me crazy. Hold on. There are only two things, I am and you. You are the word. Anything that is outside, anything that is a part of the world cannot make me crazy. Have you seen that sometime you have seen in the movies? Huh? They switch on the TV and the TV is not working and they throw the TV. They put their anger on the TV. I identify myself. I lose that awareness. So Master Patanjali says Prakriti and Purusha. So once you have understood, so now let us go a little deeper. Observing the thoughts and emotions. What can I observe? What can I feel? What can I experience is the part of the world. It cannot be me. Are you getting it? Just take it. Operating principle apply. How you open the phone? Operating principle. To apply this operating principle, whatever I know, I experience, I feel is not me. And there are only two things in the world. And what is not me cannot give me any problem. From there, the concept and idea of observing the thoughts, feeling, emotions have come. So that thought, feeling, and emotions is just a part of the Prakriti, is Prakriti, and I am Purusha. That consciousness cannot be disturbed at all. In between, there is an identification with a particular emotion, with a particular thought, with a particular feeling, with a particular name and the form, and then we are into the problem. Are you getting? Say yes. So that is the dealing with your sensory experiences. It works very well, this type of discernment. I am seeing you, or my eyes are seeing you. Senses are meant to have a perception. Behind there is a mind. So I am is I am in the mind. I am in the perception. I am in the feeling. There is only one I am. There are millions in the world. That causes the confusion. I am feeling stressed. So the stress is one, mind is second, emotional turbulence is the third, body mind complex is the fourth. And when I express that I am stressed, I have a knowledge about it. all that belongs to the world. Nothing belongs to you. Can it come in a day? No. You have to work. You have to contemplate and reflect every time when you are dealing with your mind. And then you will see it is gone. So Patanjali uses the discernment. There are other also ways, but this mainly he deals with this discernment in the first chapter, matter and the consciousness, Prakriti and the Purusha. Prakriti, I am moving. No, I'm not moving. This body is moving. The wave is moving. The water is there. Water does not change even if the wave moves. Did the wave change? Did the water change? Because of the deep identification with the world of the change, I project, my mind projects that movement is a real. That's why my mind is wavering. That's my mind is not. But let us go a little deeper how to use this discernment in your relationship, navigating relationship. This Prakriti and the Purusha discernment will work very well. Do you remember? We are doing the third one. We did pranayama, we did the pratyahara, and now we do the discernment. Patanjali uses the discernment. He says, do you know, in the first chapter? And then he says, okay, you don't get it. So move to the second chapter. Do some self-discipline. Pray to the God. Pray to the God. Those are the means. Remember, those are the means to reach to that higher state. Remember this. So navigating the relationship. What is navigating the relationship? I am the pure consciousness, body-mind complex builds the relationship. Do you see that? But you need not to tell your honey, you need not to tell your friend, you need not to tell your son. My son is in the other room. I have to recognize because I am treating the path of the self-discovery. So this body-mind complex builds a relationship. Consciousness is only one. Consciousness is only one. Now, I also see you as a conscious human being. Do you agree to that statement? If you say yes, I want to know what exactly you see in me to say that I am a conscious being. Because my lips are moving? Because the sound is striking to your ears? There is just so much of sound in the nature. Tell me, how do you prove that I am a conscious being? You're looking at the movement of the eyes, movement of the lips, the sound is passing to you. You are looking only at the body and its movement. We see only the matter and we project. Only way, once we recognize and awaken to that our true nature, we also awaken to the true nature of everyone. Before that, we always have an identification with the body mind complex, Prakriti and Purusha. There are only two things, matter and consciousness. There is nothing. There is nothing that is third. Why I said so? I'm just giving you some of the thoughts that you need to think and contemplate and just make it clarity. Remove that ignorance. When you say, I am a conscious being, so you are already a conscious being. So it means there are two consciousnesses. Can there be two consciousnesses? Can there be two spaces? We say the space is infinite. So can there be two spaces? It's just to relax yourself and to just use that term. No, you are a conscious being and I'm also a conscious being. So it means there are two consciousnesses. One is you and one is me. And in that way, there are many consciousnesses. There are 8 billion people, so 8 consciousnesses are there. We don't stand anywhere. Consciousness is only one. Like the water is only one. Waves are many. So when I say wave is a name in the form, I have a name in the form. So you address me, I am a conscious human being. Stephen is a conscious human being. Dennis is a conscious human being. So I'm using the name and the form. It's a very subtle layer of discernment. Very subtler. And once you become aware of that, discernment is complete. That awakening takes place. Patanjali says first chapter is enough. First chapter is enough. Oh, you did not understand. Go to the second chapter. Oh, do some self-discipline. Do some, what you say? Tapah swadhyay ishwar pranidhanani kriya yoga. So he uses the second type of yoga, kriya yoga. He uses the word. And you live unconscious life without any discernment. Then Ashtanga yoga. It has a utility. It is not, I'm not saying it is useless. It is important. Then we say Ashtanga yoga, 8-limbed path of yoga. I remember something beautiful in the 4th chapter. So all journey in Patanjali Yoga is about samadhi, into going into a deeper state of meditation. So in the 4th chapter, now there is a 4th path also. Patanjali is very, very extremely prudent, intelligent, wise, great professor, the way he puts the things. And he says, now you have done too much. So you raise a question that I have done these asanas and the pranayama for so many years without any result. The master says, Janma Aushadhi. Because there are people who are by born intelligent and they devote their entire life. Vivekananda reached to that awakened state at the age of 16 or 17. We normally say God gifted, so there is a possibility. So those who completely fail in their life, even after doing asana pranayama, Have you seen that they resort to the drugs? So Patanjali says, Janma Aushadhi Samadhi. So there are three more means. By God gifted, you are born with the discernment, and you can get rid of the identification. Aushadhi. Aushadhi here means you can say there are some herbs which can also bring about a transformation. It's a long process. I'm not dealing with that. And the third one, samadhi, direct samadhi. So don't learn about the discernment. Pay more attention to how to practice meditation. When you are doing japa, so continue to do the japa, Om Namah Shivaya. How long? 10 years. I don't have time. Do the discernment. I don't have I don't have the patience to do the discernment. Then continue to live in the suffering. I have to spend some time. I have to contemplate and reflect. You have been doing it. That is what I'm saying. If you don't do it, it will not work. So you see the entire of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Just remember, Janma Aushadhi Samadhi. So he says there are three more means. By Janma, by birth, you reach to that state. And by Aushadhi, by certain herbs. So we have certain herbs. That is also a very complex process. You have to live in a particular room, use the particular herb. It is written. And there are. I was exposed to that only for a brief period. And third is samadhi. Observe your mind away from the world. Follow the same discernment. He uses the same. I am and the world. Now you totally get away from the world. What is left is I am. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed and eyes are closed. Pay attention, my friend. You have learned just Prakriti and the Purusha. Oh, I learned it, yes. Did you apply? I said your eyes are closed. I am and the eyes. Being comfortable. Who is comfortable? Body. So I am in the body. I am simply saying, my friend, even if you think I am and the body. So when you use the word and, it means it is separate. If today you do not discern, tomorrow it will happen. But don't lose your awareness. If you are not aware and you are simply repeating habitually, it will become a practice of asanas and pranayama. It will not work. Then you are carefree. Again, remember, you see how the discernment works. I am and the mind. I am and the mind is full of thoughts. The mind and its contents cannot be me. I am simply saying to you that you think this in your mind. I am and the mind. I am mind and the thoughts. I am mind, thoughts, feeling, and emotions. And one day this intellect will penetrate here. It will say, and you are saying, I'm different, I'm separate. You see that? And in that state, never forget. And you see, all the steps are moving into that direction. So you forget the first three steps. Even you are holding your body in a state of being comfortable and carefree. And then the next step, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Now, there is another kind of a discernment. Can you pick up that I covered a couple of sessions before? Happiness is my essential nature. It is the essential nature of every being who is conscious. What is the common point? Happiness. Essential nature, like a sweetness of a sugar. It cannot be undone. But why it is undone? I am so relaxed and my honey makes me crazy. So here, simple answer, because that happiness is veiled by the ignorance. Okay, you say that it is not veiled by the ignorance, but still you have this thought, it calms you down, that now I need not to fight. Is not that discernment? Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. We are in the first chapter of Patanjali, not in the fourth or the second or the third. Peace is our essential. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. I discussed about it. It is a discernment between the part and the whole. I cannot be the part. I cannot be divided into the part. What is divided is not me. Body, mind, intellect, feeling, emotions, thoughts, relations. I'm husband to someone. I'm son to someone. I'm father to someone. I'm boss to someone. I'm crazy to someone. And if that entity is not present, that someone does not exist. This is what Patanjali is saying. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness for all. And in that state, we will continue the journey. We are doing the pranayama. Remember, my friends, I'm not criticizing. I'm just talking about different levels of the people, different levels of the seekers. It is required. And that is why we have included. You see the pranayama, looking deep inside the forehead, pranayama and pratyahara. We have included both. Looking deep inside the forehead in the space. And there you are dropping Om Shanti. I have included the japa also. Now I'm telling. That is our next topic, as discussed by this master, pranayama, pratyahara, viveka, and japa. So I just introduced much before I discuss. So Om Shanti, and now can start breathing, quick and short, gentle breath through both the ribs, through both the nostrils into the ribs. Continue breathing. Do not stop. You see how much effort you need to put it. So sometimes the mind is not ready to put the effort. Mind is not ready to contemplate and reflect. So we are balancing that. No, continue to do that. Continue. Continue breathing, quick and short breath through the nostrils. Om Shanti continues. And the stillness in the body also continues. Continue breathing. Om Shanti, stillness. You are doing a lot of things together. You are maintaining the stillness. You are breathing. You're dropping Om Shanti. You are aware of the space inside. That acts as a pratyahara. You're doing the Om Shanti. That becomes the japa. You're doing the pranayama. That withdraws the mind from outside to inside. So don't take this step lightly. And stop it. Awareness of the flow of the breath. You are aware of the flow of the breath, doing nothing. Can that be said in a way? Discernment? Just check it. In one of the mantras, it says, every instruction of the teacher can result into a discernment, provided you follow it. Why? Teacher is not important here. It is coming from the knowledge from the great masters. Knowledge is more important. Continue. You are aware of the breath. Now I gave it the purpose that you are aware of the flow of the breath. So your mind, you have to check your mind. Mind enjoys that state of doing nothing, or it is jumping from one thought or feeling and emotions to the other at even at this time. And someday it happens. Let it happen. But you're just aware. Now in that state, take a deep, silent and slow breath. Another practice of pranayama you see then pratyahara. As you inhale, move the mind from the top center of the head to the tailbone, singing mentally Om Shanti. While breathing out, moving the mind from the tailbone into the spine, reaching to the top of the head, and mentally you are singing Om Shanti. And see, you'll find that you are absorbed. Movement of the mind along the spine, singing of Om Shanti, stillness in the body, as if, as it appears that going deeper. So you who is regulating your mind, it is the deep, silent, and slow breath. So mind over the breath and the breath over the mind, they're both complementing each other. And if that happens, even that will take your mind much deeper inside. And leave this step and drop Om Shanti on the 16 segments of fingers. Moment you see the point, dropping Om Shanti. Do you still remember right We understand it is the mind's eye looking at this segment. It is the mind's skin that is touching it. It is the mind's ear that is listening on Shanti. And that gathers the prana, which is scattered outside because of the mind. We covered that topic in the pranayama. Should I remind you? Her desire is the impurity of prana, the mind. Oh, that principle is applied here. Yes, that principle is applied here. You will definitely experience some deepening of the sensations and the energy movement around those fingers. Now, moving the mind inside the cave of your heart, visualize the triangle of any color pointing upward, moving the mind on each side of a triangle, dropping a shanti and checking clockwise and anti-clockwise. You are syncing that. And once you feel even a slight feeling of this thing, um, that is the moment you push the mind inside. Singing and in that journey, we see mind seemingly stops, shanti, and then do nothing. Now you see there is nothing, no practice. When no practice is done, only I am, only water, no waves. But wave, I'm not aware of the. Yes, you're aware of the waves. Same example. Sky is not blue, but I continue to see the blueness of the sky, and but I know But I know, but I know I am. Water is aware of the wave means it is all water. There are no worries. There may be some thoughts too far from you, feeling sensation. That is the property of the consciousness. Mm. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Om Shanti, shanti, shanti. Om Shanti, shanti, shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. Bring the hands down, share our experiences. How are you,
Thank you, sir. So much better than what I've started from. And like I realize that sometimes, like, because we're not able to discern from the waves, we get confused ourselves, and then that makes the suffering.
Yes, you're right. So when we say that mind is running, it is because of the confusion. So let mind come and talk to me. Let me get rid of this confusion. Allow the intellect to say that and then start working on it. Yes, it will work. If it doesn't work, let me know. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good, sir. Thank you. Over the last few days, I've taken on the approach of the importance of being an observer,
Good.
and being able to not only being looking at myself, but looking at others, and looking at the world as suffering. And as an observer of the world that's suffering, allowed me to able to self-reflect on what I see in others of how I am, dealing with myself. And that's been extremely helpful in this path of practicing Viveka, and creating this quest for peace and happiness. My meditation, I went into it with the intention of being an observer, and what I observed was absolutely nothing, because my meditation was filled with nothing. It started, and then I heard you chanting at the end, and it was wonderful. So thank you.
Beautiful. Yes. In the beginning, it is good. In a deeper state, we should have a sense of nothingness. And as we progress further, we will move to the next level. One thing more important, yes, as an observer, I should not lose sight of I being the observer, even while observing others. The moment we lose sight of I being the observer, and then observer and observed have become one, and it will create problem. That is another way to look at it. Well, oh, so how are you, David and Jerry? Don't worry about it. I will take one more lesson on Viveka, then we will move ahead. Don't feel bored. Yes, David and Jerry.
Thank you. The lesson, you know, the I am and matter kind of really resonated with me, and so going into the practice, the meditation portion, I was focused on my consciousness and becoming an observer, and it was kind of interesting because there was parts during the meditation where I could see the mind running. I didn't get attached to it. I didn't get angry over it. I just let it go, and it just kind of fizzled away. And I just had this very peaceful, deep, blank meditation.
Beautiful. Yes, we have to do lot. No, we are living in the world, and living in the world, obviously, we are we are observing, we are knowing, we are working. So in all the three aspects, there is always a knower and an observer. Then what is the difference? As a seeker, I separate the observer from the observed. Non-seeker doesn't separate. That is the big difference. And that small difference is the big difference. It's a matter of ignorance and wisdom. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, the mind went to knowing without the consciousness, we can't see. So because of the consciousness, we see, we hear, we think, we speak, we have the ability to understand and apply. And only when we don't realize that we have the consciousness are we confused or suffering. But if we always know, and whether that is through the suffering that we have to figure it out, or we're born that way, or we have years of practice of the viveka, whatever it is, once we can settle there, then it's just clear every day.
Beautiful. Yes. Beautiful. I observe the world. So there are three layers. One is the perception. Perception is done by the senses. Action is done by the motor organs. Thinking done by the intellect. So I am not the senses. So there is an observer who knows that I am none of these sense organs. I am none of these motor organs. I am not the intellect. So I'm even not the objects of the senses, the feeling of the mind and thoughts. So even we start thinking the way Gary has started, the way you are thinking, you can instantly get out of this. But we have to do it again and again and again. Beautiful. Thank you. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you for the lesson. The talk triggered some contemplations, and I was thinking that why we go inside and observe is because the reason, the objective of observing is to negate what I observe, to negate, to separate it from myself, and to assert that this is not me. Whatever feeling, whatever thought, whatever emotions I can observe has to be negated. So this is the reason we go inside and observe.
Very good answer. And that is another topic of discernment. So first we recognize what I am and what I am not. So once I recognize that I am not the senses, so I have to negate it. So when I negate it, the mind goes inside. Remember, it's a very important point. So we have the entire text written on it. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am none of these sense organs, I am none of the contents of the world. I am absolute, pure consciousness. So we are negating does not mean that we are rejecting, we are destroying it. We are simply knowing who am I. Another level of discernment. Rightly put. Dennis, how are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. If there's only two things, consciousness and matter, does that mean that the mind is matter?
Yes, mind is matter. Then there is another confusion. What is that confusion? Yes, mind is matter.
Okay.
Mind is a very subtle matter. It is like the mirror that reflects the sunlight. So we have a reflection somewhere else. The wall cannot reflect. So body is like a wall, a dense matter. Mind is a subtle matter. So where the consciousness is reflected. So it becomes a reflected consciousness, or it becomes a mind embodied with the consciousness. Yes. Mind is matter. How are you, Terry? Oh,
Well, I don't know what to say.
okay.
mind is feeling like a lot of very scattered today. And I have to do a lot of work on it. My mind is feeling crazy. And it's kind of
Good. It's funny.
oh, I don't know. But you said something about people getting angry with at the television, and I was thinking, that never works. Didn't you mention? And for some reason, that's very appealing to me. I don't know why, but that never works. So it doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't accomplish anything.
Do you feel better?
Not if I get angry at the TV.
It doesn't accomplish anything. You are right. It doesn't accomplish. But who has to become aware of this fact? So the one who becomes aware of this fact is an observer. And the moment, even if you think that what can I accomplish by hitting on the TV, you will not do it.
Yeah.
So when you do it because of the identification.
I don't know if I should even begin to ask this question, but
it's a good question. It pertains to the power of discernment.
Mhm.
How are you, Christina? Christina, someone wants to join. Christina. Christina. So, Christina, I don't hear you.
I'm having tech issues. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, now I can hear you.
Thank you. Two things stood out for me today. The difference between, there's two things I am not. I think I wrestle often with all the things that I am not. And then I notice the mind wants, I know this is a delusion, wants to say we create a conditioned environment here. And it seems so much easier than when there's more uncontrollable things coming at one throughout the day.
Yes. First thing that I separate, and after I separate, as Dennis says, that I have to negate one aspect, one way of living in that, or by the way of the Stephen, that I remain as an observer. There is no one except the observer inside. And whatever comes and goes is observed. Again, going to the Jerry. Whatever comes and goes is observed. Observed means it is known, means it is changing. So the outer world is also changing. Why I want to control? So that is not an observer, that is an ego who wants to control. And ego is an I thought in the mind. Ego has no other existence. Think of it. Think of it, contemplate and reflect. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We will meet again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.